I'm Officer Robert Reeves, the Public Information Officer for the Irving Police Department. Today we're here to announce the arrest that we made last week when our fugitive unit found, located, and arrested Victor Moreno, 28 years of age, for continuous sex abuse of a young child and improper relationship between a student and educator back on Thursday, July 21st was when he was arrested. Moreno assaulted his 7-year-old female victim during the school year of 2020 to 2021 while she was a second grader at Townsville Elementary within the Irving ISD school district. Moreno was her teacher, and we did not receive an outcry until the school year. So March of 22, we received this outcry from a third-party individual, another student. We went through the process of investigating that, trying to locate who the actual victim was, and then trying to figure out who the suspect was. During that process, we got the suspect identified, got a warrant for him, and started looking for him here within the community. Moreno did resign from the Irving ISD at the end of the 2021 school year after failing to meet his certification requirements through the state. And during our investigation and trying to locate him, we found that he worked at Plano ISD this last school year, where he was ultimately fired because of a code of conduct violation with their school district. Moreno, when he was arrested, he was transferred to Dallas County Jail, where he was given a $10,000 bond for the continuous sex abuse of a young child, which is a felony 1 charge, and a $5,000 bond for improper relationship between student and educator, which is a felony 2 charge. Just want to reiterate that those bonds are set by the county, that is not set by the Irving Police Department. We believe there may be additional victims, so we are asking anybody that knows Moreno, whose children or family members or friends might have been taught by Moreno, to talk to them, have those difficult discussions. If you feel that an offense has occurred when you're talking to your child or your friend's child or whomever, to contact the Irving Police Department if you reside in Irving. If you reside in Plano, you'll need to contact the Plano Police Department as jurisdiction requires on where the reports are initially taken. At this time, I'll open it up to questions to see if anybody has any.
Did he work at another district prior to the offense?
So what we have found is that he did some student teaching and some tutoring before being hired on as a teacher within the Irving School District.
Going back to that third-party student who let y'all know someone was up in March of this year, did that student just, offer that information to an SRO? Was it told to a parent, or how ultimately did this come to light?
So the student made the reference that the reason that Moreno was no longer employed by the school district because he did this to another, and because he did something to an individual. The student did not know that he was let go because he didn't have certification requirements. That adult that the student made the outcry to contacted the Irving Police Department, and that's when we began our investigation.
Which school in Plano did he work for?
I do not know that specific information. You'll have to touch base with Plano ISD on that.
When you said that y'all started trying to find him from March and then the arrest was made this week, was there anything, that's a couple months past, is that just protocol or?
Right, so it went through the process. It does take some time to investigate these types of cases. You have to set up forensic interviews. We have to talk to when we got the report, we had to figure out who our victim actually was. Then we had to figure out who the teacher was, trying to figure out that individual, tracking that down. It was just a process. We did have the warrant for him, and then we're able to locate him. And then during that time period, that's kind of when school let out, and that's when we found out that he was working up at Plano ISD and that he had already been fired from Plano ISD.
Was that hard with that kind of that ambiguous statement maybe from this third party to then figure out who the student and the teacher was?
The investigators, they work diligently on these cases. How he connected all those dots, I don't know those specifics, but I know that they do work these cases. This is our Crimes Against Children unit that we're working on this case, and so they were happy to figure out who the suspect was and ultimately get him placed in custody. He did get arrested. He has since bonded out of Dallas County and is not currently in custody.
Is there a concern? I mean, this covers 2 different school districts. Like, some time has passed. We're talking about 2020 to 2021 school year. Is there
So we do believe that there could be more victims. So those parents who may be familiar with Moreno and the Plano School District and the Irving School District, definitely have those conversations with your children. There's nothing that's leading us to make us believe that this was just an isolated incident. We believe that there could be possible other victims, and so we definitely want parents and loved ones to have those conversations with their children.
I know you specified the bond amounts obviously are not set by you guys. Just another question about concern though that he's currently out in the community.
So that is a concern, right? That these types of individuals that commit these crimes are concerning to all parties involved, whether it's your children your child that's the victim, or you have children, or you know someone who has children. Seeing someone like this get such a low bond from Dallas County and being able to bond out so easily is disappointing.
Because when he be looked at like a high risk,
I would say
allegations possibly to come. So
correct. I would say someone who's committing crimes against children is definitely someone who should have a higher bond.
I went on the TEA's do not hire registry, and he's still not on there. And I mean, this stuff, came to light in the spring, and then he was hired by another district. I mean, how does it affect y'all's job?
So that him not being on that registry doesn't affect, or not being able to allowed to teach doesn't affect our job, because we're going to still conduct our investigation the best way to be able to make a good case, to present that to the grand jury, to get warrants issued through judges. That is alarming to find out, and that would definitely be a question to follow up with them to see why he's not been taken off that list or added to that do not hire list.
okay. Did he have any priors to this as far as being a teacher?
So I believe his first full year to teach was this 2020 to 2021 school year. He had helped out with tutoring, and he had helped out with private tutoring, but his first school district to actually teach at for a full school year as a teacher was this year in Irving.
And was that in Irving, that private tutoring and the?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
And background check passed or something. That's what I'm really trying to get at.
Right. So what all Irving ISD looks into when they hire their employees would definitely be a question for them. I don't know the extent of what their background check is. I know the extent of what our background checks are for hiring police officers, but that would definitely be a question to follow up with them.
Last one for me, I'm sorry. So parents are going to have these conversations with their kids, right? And they're going
Right.
to try to talk to them. At what point do you want them calling you guys? How much information do parents need to gather for them to then reach out to you?
If it starts going down the path of that conversation to where they feel their child has been a victim of a offense, go ahead and kind of press the pause button there, contact your local law enforcement agency. That way we don't traumatize that child more and make them have to tell the story 5, 6, 7 times. We can set up an interview with a child forensic investigator, and they can hopefully only have to tell that story maybe once or twice.
Just a little information though,
Yeah, if you get enough information to where your hair's kind of sticking up on the back of your neck and you think, hey, there may be more to this, then definitely contact the police department.
And let's clear it up. 10,000 is his bond.
So he was given a $10,000 bond through Dallas County for the continuous sex abuse of a young child, and a $5,000 bond for a improper relationship between a student and teacher.
So it's basically like $1,500 he can get out and do it.
Most bonds do require you to
10%.
only put up 10%, which would be $1,500.
Cold liquor.
Okay. Thank you.